MLS Next Pro Match Week 26 makes its way to Miami in Fort Lauderdale, where Inter Miami, they won against a team north of the playoff line. Last time they were on the stadium, as Atlanta United 2 aim to stay above the line and continue to stand their ground in the top 8. Hello and welcome, I'm Ryan Lee. Thank you so much for joining us. And as the league season continues to wrap up, we're less than a month away from the end of the season. Everything starts to take its shape, including the playoff picture, especially in a very tight-knit Eastern Conference, where there's all sorts of opportunities for every team that's still alive. Toronto are only 9 points back of the playoff cutoff, but when you have all the teams within the mix, you're talking about second place Chattanooga and even 10th place Huntsville, only separated by 9 points. It is anyone's game, and the unfortunate reality is only the top 8 can make it through. There will be at least 8 more teams, and maybe a handful of those 8 who were just short by slim margins. And Atlanta United, they have slim margins to go by as well, with their 40 points, only one above NYCFC, who currently occupy the final slots. Inter Miami were the first team eliminated. They are last place in the Eastern Conference, but they have been able to disrupt the flow of the rest of the table. As we take a look at their starting 11 coming up, as the Herons go with a 3-5-2 for Rodrigo Vargas. Marine is in his 21st start across 24 appearances with Inter Miami 2. And he was in goal for both wins for the Herons. Mike Sumala and Hall in the back with the 5-man midfield unit, including the likes of Idol Zeltzer Zubito, one of those strong key contributors on the offense. And for the tandem up top, Saha and Ray. For Saha, this is his 20th start. For Ray, this is his 20th appearance in the 2026 MLS Next Pro campaign. Flipping things over to Atlanta, not a whole lot of changes from their lineup, especially with the way that they have been rolling. Jose Silva will not be on the sideline. He is out due to yellow card accumulation suspension, so acting coach Will Bates has chosen to stand relatively pat with the primary starting 11. And when you have the league's leading assist creator and goal scorers in Dunbar and Kovac leading the way for the attack, that should most certainly help out the Five Stripes, who already have the most shots and most shots on target in the league. We make our way to the center of Inter Miami CF Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. Sun shines all the way through, but it could just simply highlight two teams who are in relatively opposite directions. For Inter Miami, already eliminated from the playoff race. For Atlanta, only 1 point above the line and look to stay there as Dunbar tries from deep right off the rip. And only 10 seconds in, Matias Marine is forced to his first save. Miami will attack, left to right in the pink. In the all black, right to left will be Atlanta United 2. As Ryan Lee and the rest of our MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, we thank you so much for joining us here in South Florida. But the last time we were at this field, there was that 4-2 upset on New England. Maybe a chance to start the attack quick off here. That gets blocked, out of play, opening corner for Miami. And what a sequence, only 45 seconds into the match. You had that try from deep from Dunbar on the one end, and already a corner for the Herons the other way. Swung inward. No one's there but Cisse. Trying to put it back in the mixer before Atlanta clear. For Atlanta, they'll be without their head coach, Jose Silva, who is suspended due to yellow card accumulation that allows the assistant, Will Bates, to take over. At least for the match, Coach Silva will be watching this match from the stands. But this Atlanta side, they've been a team that have been very much rounded on their attack. Not only do they have the second most goals across the league with 52 in 24 matches, they also have the most shot attempts, and just simply due to their ability to attack and really swarm their oppositions, they also have the most shots on target in the mix as well across Next Pro. However, because of their very middle-of-the-pack defense, they have been at the behest of that, which is why they're in this position where they're only 1 point above the playoff line entering the night. But granted, when you really expand and look at the rest of the playoff picture, they're only 4 points back of Chattanooga, who are in the number 2 seed. Only one spot in the playoff picture has been officially occupied. That is Crown Legacy, the number 1 seed in the East by a wide margin, mind you. 11 points above Atlanta, 7 points above second place Chattanooga. And for most of these teams, you're talking about 4, in some cases 5 matches left in the season. And especially with the season closing down, there truly is no room for error. The error there committed by Inter Miami. Ignacio Suarez to reset. Chance to gallop ahead. Dunbar, the back heel, couldn't sweep it across to Chongqui. That allowed Vorenkamp to clear. Only as far as Ray by the center line. He'll maintain it with the Herons. Vorenkamp already having himself a career season, at least in terms of the raw statistics of it all. 4 assists across 20 matches. All those starts, 21 if you include today. 4 of his 5 total goal contributions, all of which are assists, came this season. Miami threatening, centering feed, and they just miss. There's something about home turf for Inter Miami. Bit of a mishandle there by Cisse. Couldn't corral it. And a nice feed from Saha to locate Ray at the top of the box. However, wide by slim margins. And this was something that we've seen from Inter Miami over the last handful of matches, how they can get off the jump quick. Maybe a chance for Arif Kovac as he's double-teamed. In the last 2 matches, Inter Miami scored opening goals in the 12th minute against New England and in the 27th minute against Chicago. Those were the 2 matches after their consecutive shutout run. The last time they were here was the win against New England. In fact, they have won in 2 of the 4 previous matches in this building. You had that first win of the season against Toronto on July 25th. And then they just had a string of games where they just couldn't find any sort of offensive opportunities. 3 straight matches without a goal. And they proceeded to respond to that with a 4-goal outing. Somehow that was last off of Morrison, even though he was entangled with Sananu. Matt Sananu, the number 6 overall draft pick in the 2025 MLS Super Draft from the Colorado Rapids. And with him being the 6th overall pick, set a school record in terms of the highest drafted player in program history. However, despite the success that Inter Miami had last time they were here, they did have to go on the road the last time out and were unable to come back after scoring the opening goal of the match just shy of a half an hour in. Chicago Fire would have an onslaught of opportunities to start off the second half. 3 goals in an 11-minute stretch from the 48th to the 59th. And that also kind of says a lot of what you need too. You allow 3 goals in a less than 15-minute stretch to open up the half, and just can't really find a response after that. But that's one of the things that the coaching staff of Inter Miami are trying to really implore on these guys. With the leadership of Daniel Godoy and Rodrigo Vargas, who's been leading the way for Miami. Understanding that this is going to be a very young group, and even though the wins and losses, just the raw record of it all, might not be as promising as some might hope, there is also that extra bit of learning that comes with the adversity. Suarez outside, Cibrian. Didi Cibrian ahead for Dunbar. That cross got blocked, forcing Atlanta's first corner. This is a nice attempt by Atlanta. You have so many threatening pieces all over, and if Dunbar somehow got that across for Kovac, that would have been an exceptional try. However, Dunbar will get a chance to send a crossing service once again on the corner. Dunbar. We go again. This Atlanta United side absolutely hammered the Young Lions of the other Florida State team, Orlando City B, in their last matchup, the second win in a back-to-back after beating Chicago earlier in the week. A chance to get ahead. High arc, back in the mix. Overhead. Dominic Chung-Kui got final contact. As you can see, Dunbar lifting it across. Cisse got it back in. Chung-Kui, not necessarily known for his header ability, but at least based on that replay, he most certainly has the hops to do so. And only 5'10", but he's also only 18, still yet to really grow in that body. Probably one of the more underrated factors of Next Pro that often goes unnoticed. Yes, you have these guys who are growing into their soccer IQs and maybe the strength of it all. But when you have many players who are 15, 16, even some of the 17 and 18-year-olds, there's still that element of just overall growth in your body. You might add an inch or two in the summer, which has happened across numerous examples individually. That one was interesting because Cisse didn't even seemingly get contact on that angle, at least. Servando Berna leading the way, Fritz Barbarous, Andrew Sharon, and Ivan Sid Cruz. They're the crew today. They're all in yellow. Cisse forced his man offside regardless. card right off the rip, given to Theo Vornkamp. Well, what an exciting opening half this has been. Talking about a trio of corners already. Golden opportunity for Miami that got missed. You had a save forced by Matias Marie in the opening 10 seconds. And had a yellow card to that mix, only a dozen minutes in. Inter Miami, the first team eliminated from the MLS Next Pro playoff race in 2026. 2-17-4 to start off their opening 23 matches of the campaign. Their 11 points are still quite a ways behind Cincinnati, who were the second team who officially had that E next to their name in the standings. Talking about an 8-point gap between Cincy and Miami. Dunbar couldn't settle it down. That allows Marine to get back. It's a roasty one here in Miami. 86 degrees. And unfortunately for South Florida, not a lot of wind relief, and that's just given up immediately. So in about 10 to 15 minutes from now, expect the potential of a hydration break. But Miami, due to a few of their own miscues, are allowing Atlanta to heat up. Third corner already. Could also be their third shot. 2 with 1 on target already. Back post, headed down and missed. Daniel Chica getting up there. This is a great delivery by Dunbar, and Daniel Chica heads it wide. All the experience he's had across the pro soccer realm. Pair of seasons with Carolina Core. And in that 2024 campaign, he actually started the year with Lexington of then USL League One before they made their promotion to the USL Championship. All starting things off in 2023 with Loudoun United of the USL Championship. Marine gives it right back to Atlanta United once again off that flub service. This broadcast is presented by Royal Caribbean, the official vacation partner of Inter Miami CF2. Chongqui to throw over the head of Sananu. This will give things back to Atlanta. Inter Miami and Matias Marine, they have been tested so many times all season long, especially in the defensive end. They've allowed the top 3 most in the league in terms of goals conceded and also because of their shots against. The more shots you have to defend, the more likely you are to have a goal slip through. Dunbar, again, flubbed in front. Suarez couldn't get a touch, still alive before that gets cleared out the box. Dunbar goes again, headed up and over. When you talk about opportunities and having them just come back around, even with the clearance, no one is there to finish it off. That allowed Dunbar to get back on it and go for a second service. And all sorts of commotion going on inside the 18 box, making life hard for the Herons. And even some of that high pressure for Atlanta causing issues also. Potentially an opportunity for Inter Miami. They work it outside. Vorenkamp back in the middle, glanced around. That forces the hands of Jonathan Ransom for the first time in this match. Jonathan Ransom has secured his spot with Atlanta United with the great play that he's had and some of the accolades he's received from the Canadian national team, having played in the U17 World Cup back in November and even getting call-ups pretty much across the board in the Canadian national team. As Dunbar settles it down, holds back, that allows Hall to clear. Tripped up, they'll let it fly. Chica, Dunbar couldn't get the flick. That allowed DePaula to recover. And Inter Miami escape on the cycle. Ray got grappled by Mo Cisse. A just turned 22-year-old. The Montreal native, the former Penn State Nittany Lion. Had his 22nd birthday earlier this week on Tuesday. Converse has a man across. Little pump fake, second try. Can't get past Sinanu. Only as far back as Converse, and he'll maintain possession. Inter Miami 2 team who have been in the bottom 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference for back-to-back seasons. But they have a chance to cause some trouble. Morrison getting in the mix with Sinanu. Cisse helps out. Cisse will dispatch, but not unimpeded. Miami are back in business on the throw. Miami, despite only 1 shot attempted so far, they have made life difficult. And already out of the gate, the first change, Tyler Hall will be replaced with Nash Dearman. There didn't seem to be any sort of apparent injury or anything else. Maybe just trying to adjust something. This was actually something we saw a little bit in the World Cup about a month ago. Granted, it often came from the hydration breaks, but the purpose still stands that coaches nowadays, they are more willing than ever to make those substitutions as soon or as late as they want. Those early first half subs, even if they're not injury related, coaches are more willing to pull the trigger now than ever before. Once you see something you don't like, you just cut bait and move on. Unless there is an issue with Hall that we haven't seen. Overhead everyone. Back through. Chica got in the way and sent it down. Foot race near side. Chong Kui, one touch across. Just too far for Kovac. Has hope on the other end. That one's lifted. Dunbar back in the middle. Wanted to go back through for Kovac. That got blocked. Somehow inbounds and down the length. Cisse dropped. Free kick. Miami will concede the foul. And it's a crossing of legs between Cisse and Converse. Dunbar has Pita. Now it's Dunbar alone. Curls it. Headed out. Got a lot of clearance from DePaula, but Dunbar keeps it in the attacking half. Dunbar, patient, back in the middle. Couldn't get it by White. Still alive, top of the area. Pita, Dunbar, back post and just missed. Another golden opportunity on the header for Sananu, but couldn't convert either time. Pita's been a guy before who has been willing to take those shots from outside the area. Instead wants to go back outside for the top playmaker in MLS Next Pro in Dunbar to serve the cross, and that's another golden opportunity for Sananu. Just can't get it within frame. This portion of the match is brought to you by Baptist Health, the official sports medicine provider of Inter Miami CF. Baptist Health welcomes you to experience the warmer side of care. Speaking of warmer side of things, the canopy above for Inter Miami CF Stadium will certainly being of service in an 86-degree Fahrenheit day. That's chucked in. No one can retrieve it. Vorenkamp got her on his man, Chong Kui. Should be expecting hydration breaks in this match. Atlanta and Miami, 25 minutes in of the opening 45. Miami pretty much here and now are trying to play spoiler across all of their opponents, all of which are within the playoff picture. Only themselves, Carolina, and Cincinnati have officially been eliminated. Crown Legacy, the lone team who have clinched. They're 7 points up of the second place team, Chattanooga. Chong Kui watches it roll out with a quick in. Atlanta have been a team that could just hammer teams and break them down with the quantity of opportunities they create. Cibrian just got dropped. Absolutely no contact on the ball. However, Atlanta do get the ball back eventually. And the yellow card gets flashed up for a second time. You had Saha and a little bit of an elbow to the back of Ignacio Suarez, which draws the opening yellow of, or second yellow of the match, both of which going to Inter Miami. That time Mateo Saha, who had an excellent performance in that last home match versus New England. He and Diego Rey were darn near unstoppable in that match versus the Revs. With every passing match, more and more of these matches will have even heavier weight to it. Out west, you have two teams officially out of it, with Kansas City and Colorado. And we have all sorts of commotion in the area. And that is actually where we'll have our hydration break, as Servando Berna wants to cool down the environment and the atmosphere here. Take a look back at the standings. It's what we've been talking about all match long, because there's so much to unpack when you look at the standings. You start off with the number 9 team, Chicago Fire. They're only 5 points back at the second place team, Chattanooga. And at least within that section of teams alone, between those 8 squads, one of them is going to get their heart broken when you have so many teams within a 5-point window. Huntsville, Orlando, Philly, and Toronto, they're a little bit further back, but that's still 5 teams within the top 8. Only 9 points out, which is not completely impossible, but it most certainly would be an uphill climb, especially for your teams like Philly and Toronto. And for Philly, it doesn't help that they just loaned out their star forward and Stas Kotanyovsky over to the USL Championship. And then you just have interesting teams like Orlando. They had a top 3, top 4 slots all season long, and they just basically unraveled as things continue to go along. And for all of these teams, you really have to look out, because Inter Miami is the next team for many of those opponents that were shown on the standings graphic. Their next opponent, NYCFC, at this stadium, who are right at the playoff line. Orlando, they are 4 points back. They come after that. Huntsville are in the mix, also 4 points back of the playoff line. At the end of the season, going to CTU, who are currently the number 3 seed after barely hovering around the playoff line all season long. But as mentioned earlier, 2nd and 9th are separated by 5 points. It is truly anyone's opportunity, especially in this conference. Maybe an opportunity for Atlanta to build within that as well. Chongqui to toss. The chase down by Riveras. He beats out Dearman. Riveras to center. Unable to link up with Sananu. Atlanta will take the throw. Atlanta just really focused on the continuing willpower to excel, and maybe a chance for Chung Kui to do just that. He slides it through, but just misses. How many defenders did he beat out? He got through 3 defenders in some way, shape, or form through the legs of Daniel Sumala, but couldn't get it within frame. If that somehow got a deflection off the crossbar and in, you're talking about a very early contender for goal of the week. With the individual effort from the Alpharetta, Georgia native Dominic Chung Kui, who's actually listed as a first-team player entering the season. Cyprian gets dropped. That is a no hesitation yellow card given to Miami. You had Morrison in the mix. It wasn't for the shove down, it was for the slide on Cyprian that drew the whistle. And this gives another set piece opportunity to the Five Stripes. Under 10 minutes to go in the half. Dunbar's at the top of the box. This is Santiago Pita to serve. Pita, Chica, just missed. All things considered, this is a really nice set piece. Chica perhaps using a little bit of that leverage from Vorenkamp to get a little bit of extra height. He's already 6'2", 175, but you have to credit the back in Daniel Chica for making that opportunity at least threatening. This portion of the match is brought to you by Lowe's, the official home improvement partner of Inter Miami CF2. Still zeros on the board in the final 10 minutes of the first half. And maybe a foot race here. It's Vorenkamp. Chung Kui catches up. Vorenkamp, loose in front, great save! Jonathan Ransom got there, and there's no rebound, it's offside. This was a potential breaking point for Inter Miami. And yeah, you could tell Vorenkamp, he had Zeltzer Zubida on an island. Even though that didn't count because it was offside, what an impressive save from Jonathan Ransom. There's a reason he continuously gets called up to the Canadian international team. He's played with them at the U17, U18, and U20 level. He doesn't turn 19 until January. So you're talking about numerous times Ransom punching up in his weight class, especially amongst the entirety of Canadian youth soccer. Miami's back on the corner. Their second attempt of the half. Bottom 5 pretty much across the board in darn near every mathematical offensive category. But could they at least do good on this second corner with Matteo De Paula on the service? Outward. Converse. Second service for Miami. It's back in the middle, deflected, saved by Ransom, still loose, no one's got it. They scramble, turnaround try, Saha got blocked, tackle in the area, whistle. And a foul against Miami, a more pushing and shoving inside the penalty area. As you had Saha getting in the grill of Ransom, Cisse reaching in, Saha tried to locate it. You had the reach in. It was hard to see who that was. It looks like it was Didi Cyprian. Ransom trying to stand up for his teammates after all the contact and commotion inside of the 18. All sorts of chaos coming out of the corner. Even though Atlanta United, they don't have the most shutdown numbers defensively, they can come up with a big play in their own end when it counts. Despite their reputation all season being on the attacking end of the field. When you have a reliable keeper like Jonathan Ransom, who has really elevated himself into those new roles, not just wearing the captain's armband today, but has been that number one through and through, getting that belief through the organization in his homegrown contract that's going to come through the 2028 season. It really adds a lot of stability in the back, especially in those clutch time situations. And they most certainly needed the defense and their goalkeeper to show up huge on that last opportunity for Miami. Easily their best opportunity of the half. They also had that one chance where Saha pushed it wide. Pita comes back by the center circle. Friendly fire with Cyprian. That loosens things up for De Paula. Third meeting of the season between these two. Atlanta have dominated the last handful of matchups, but despite all of the self-inflicted wounds and in some parts, the shots to the foot from Inter Miami, they have held off the second highest scoring offense in Next Pro, 39 minutes in so far. Six to 1 goal differential for the Five Stripes across those two matches. Last time they were here at Inter Miami CF Stadium, April the 10th. Atlanta with the shutout win, 2-0. They did play a game back in Georgia too on July 11th, and that was a 4-1 win. Kovac turns it over. Pita attempts the service, but partially clipped on the way. This allows White to get out of his own end. Chica, last man, prevents anything further. Gonzalo Riveras. 5 minutes to go in the opening half. Atlanta very much not intent on sitting back or relaxing, but at the same time, they also want to have that same respect for their opponent, like Inter Miami, the handful of matches they've had that have gone their way. 2 wins in the 2 most recent times they were on this pitch. Coach Silva noting that this is a team whose record does not reflect their play. Granted, Coach Silva technically not available for today's match. He's sitting in the stands with a yellow card accumulation. That is way out of Kovac's reach. And due to that manner for Inter Miami, their interim coach is Will Bates, who's been with the club since 2021 as an academy coach with the U13s. Coach Bates has had a lot of success at the MLS Next level, reaching semifinals in the 24-25 season, and then followed it up with an appearance in the finals in the 25-26 season of MLS Next. These young players in MLS Next, the way that we talk about MLS Next Pro developing to become those next guys in MLS. You're referring to the guys who are even younger than that, developing to make their way even into MLS Next Pro. And when we talk about players coming from the academy program, whether if it's pretty much everyone in Inter Miami's roster who came from the academy, and a large handful of those from Atlanta's, more often than not, it is from MLS Next. Coach Bates most certainly up to the task in this pressure situation, with Atlanta trying to gather any sort of points to have that room for comfort in the playoff picture. Only 1 point above NYC, who are the 8. Atlanta enter as the 7, but they're also 4 points away from overtaking Chattanooga in the number 2. Chongqui against Vorenkamp. Vorenkamp somehow kept that in play. And Ignacio Suarez barreled into Vorenkamp. You could just see that is a very aggressive hit from behind by Ignacio Suarez. So far, it does not look like any card came up against Atlanta, just the free kick opportunity. Suarez has been a part of Atlanta for the last 6 seasons, debuting with the academy back in 2020. Can't locate anyone in pink. Vorenkamp on the rebound. Dearman attempted to get there, just couldn't. Relatively smooth first half, all things considered. You can most certainly see the intensity heating up here in South Florida. Only 1 shot on goal apiece, despite the heavy Atlanta advantage in terms of the shots attempted, 7-2. Same goes with the corners, 4-2. And however many more opportunities on free kicks also. But all things considered, it's been a pretty free-flowing first half. 3 extra minutes. Here come Atlanta. Riveras, well short of Chongqui, available in the box. Up top, Dunbar just misses. Glanced along the way, 5th corner now for Atlanta. A couple of awkward ricochets around the box. DePaula was going back to his own goal in a sense, just didn't get through, and then that clearance only went as far as about 15, 16 yards or so. Dunbar took a strike, took a block on the way. Maybe something right on the precipice of halftime. And just a warning, a little bit of a jarring back and forth, maybe a little too much for the officiating crew. So this allows Atlanta and Dunbar to reset. Back post header from Cisse, thwarted by Morrison. Back again, go Atlanta. Still only the one shot on frame for Atlanta, off of now 8 attempts. But Atlanta might be able to, at the very least, keep the ball in this final third with the number of chances they've had. Pita glanced out. Back in play. Pita scoops it again. Converse got there. Chung Kui couldn't escape Borenkamp. Potential break comes from Miami. Inter Miami with numbers ahead. Crossing and scores! Idol Zeltzer Zubida off the rush on the board as we strike halftime. The clock has struck at halftime. Zeltzer Zubida across the face of Ransom on only their second shot on goal of the match. Ransom possibly had some of the movement in front of him, blocking off some of that vision because of the speed that Miami were trying to utilize. It was a solo rush by Ido Zeltzer Zubida. He specifically held up to try to get the rest of the numbers in play, perhaps cause some confusion in the box, and eventually he let that one fly in for the first goal of the match. And even though you have 2 losses across the 6 matches that Miami scored first, getting the opening goal was also part of the recipe of both of their wins this season. Well, a last-second goal has most certainly changed things. When it looked like we were going to be tied at halftime, Inter Miami broke the ice on the precipice of the end of the opening 45. Coming up at halftime, player profiles, schedules, and highlights, and more news from across MLS and Next Pro on the other end when we come back. the biggest news in Major League Soccer as we are back here at Inter Miami CF Stadium. Inter Miami lead 1-0 over Atlanta United 2 here on this Friday slate. As MLS Next Pro announces its plan to shift the league's competition calendar in 2027, aligning with Major League Soccer and top global soccer leagues. A sprint season running from February to May of 2027 will be followed by the league's first full summer to spring season in 2027-28 as we take a deep dive into how the new calendar format will work out.
MLS Next Pro will shift its competition calendar to align with MLS and other top global leagues, beginning in 2027 with the sprint season, followed by the first full summer to spring season in 2027-2028. The sprint season will run from February to May 2027 and will carry the weight of a full MLS Next Pro season, with 14 regular season matches per team, plus playoffs and MLS Next Pro Cup. The new calendar will begin with the 2027-2028 season, kicking off in July 2027 and concluding with MLS Next Pro Cup in June 2028 with a mid-December to early February winter break. The 2027-2028 season will feature 28 matches per team, followed by playoffs and MLS Next Pro Cup. There are many benefits to the new competition calendar, including improving player movement and player development opportunities. Stay tuned for more schedule announcements in the coming months. On March 22nd, the Timbers called up Timbers 2 midfielder Eric Izoida ahead of their match against the LA Galaxy. Hours later, the 18-year-old academy product was named to the starting 11, making his MLS debut.
I didn't really know if I was starting or anything. I thought maybe I'd be on the bench, I'd play, but I was kind of just waiting for it. I was getting ready. I was like with my family, just chilling at home, really. I found out in the meeting right before the game, so like an hour 20 before the game. The anthem, it's always one of my favorite parts of every game. It's always, for me, that's like the crowd is engaged, everybody. It's just really cool experience. For me, just being in the stands, that's one of the parts of the game. And now being there, being on the field, doing it, it was just a really cool experience for me.
Confidence is everything in moments like these. And from the moment he walked into the locker room, Eric felt the trust of his teammates.
They were all just saying, we trust you, we believe in you, we know you're good enough for this. They were all just really positive, telling me that just to work hard out there, to not overdo it, just get into the game and just keep going. I'd say there was the first 10 minutes, I knew I had to go simple, I had to get it out. Then after 10, 15 minutes, I knew I was settling in. I made one good ball in behind, and then after that, I was good. And then second half, it took me 5, 10 minutes to get settled in again.
Moraz loses out.
In my mind, after I scored, I thought I only took 1 touch or 2 touch. I thought I just ripped it right away. It felt really good coming off the foot. In warm-ups, I had 2 really good shots as well. They both came off the post, so I was hoping it wouldn't come off the post, but it was just a really good shot. I scored, and I knew we had a little chance to get back in it, and it was just a really good moment for me.
These moments come once in a lifetime, and for Eric, having his family there to see it live was priceless.
They were just really proud. They were all like, just asking how the game was, asking all the details. They were talking to me, telling me all the stuff, how everybody was walking up to them. Everybody was saying congratulations, and even though after the loss, everybody was really happy for me. They were asking how they get our seats and how they know where we were, and I think my brother told them where they were at, and they were just really, they didn't even know they were on camera, so it was like really surprising for them.
Eric's dream of making his debut has now become a reality.
I'm really grateful for all the coaches, for all they've done. They've all done a lot for me and everybody else who's on the second team and the first team. And it's really cool seeing the talents coming out of the academy right now too.
Now, he's focused on everything that comes after it.
For me, it's to obviously break into the first team fully, hopefully get regular minutes. Those are my goals. That's one of my goals. Also getting called into the national team, keep getting called in, and then just up from there.
The opportunity to build a professional soccer club in Long Island, to me is really unique. Number one, because I'm from New York, I'm from Queens. It's a community that I'm very familiar with, that I resonate with. Long Island has a tremendous source of pride that only Long Islanders know and feel. To do this in a place where there is such a rich soccer history, on the youth end, professionally, is also unique. We're not just launching a soccer club, we're launching a culture, we're launching a community space, we're launching a brand and a team that will make Long Island proud. Island FC will represent, not just what's happening on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we certainly give more than we take, and that's in all parts of the organization and the club.
I came to Long Island 40 years ago now and created the very first professional coaching organization. And out of that has grown this tremendous industry of viral coaching, super clubs and companies. And this is really an end result for that. It's an opportunity through the Island FC to act as an embracing organization that really brings the island together in a significant way and propels male and female soccer to the top. This is bringing professional soccer right to the heart of Long Island, and it makes that dream a reality. They will see young Long Island players coming through and playing pro here with the Island FC and representing Long Island on that international stage.
Back in South Florida, Inter Miami have the 1-0 lead on Atlanta United 2 through the first 45, despite the actual play itself being relatively dominated by Atlanta. We'll get to that in a little bit, but before we look back at this game, let's take a look at the schedule from this past week. That 4-0 win from Tacoma against SKC eliminated KC in the Western Conference. They joined Miami, Colorado, Cincy, and Carolina as the only teams officially eliminated. You even had that slate of West Coast games at the end of Sunday as well. And in terms of teams eliminated or teams clinching, Vancouver held tight on Wednesday. Opportunities could come on Saturday as there are multiple teams with opportunities to clinch. You have second place Chattanooga all the way down to 6th place Red Bull New York. Connecticut, New England, Columbus all within that mix as well. All 5 of those teams can have playoff slots. We could be talking about 6 of 8 seats occupied at the Eastern Conference playoff table already accounted for by the time we get to Sunday night. And that would be absolutely staggering considering how not only tight things are, but also with so much opportunity. You're not just playing for the games
MLS
themselves, you're also playing for seeding as well at that point. You're also even debating who's going to be the top 4 and who's not. Atlanta, they need to keep their hopes alive to even make the playoffs if they don't win today. But first half highlights, Miami were able to get their opportunities. Saha fed Ray up in front, but just barely missed the net. In one of the 5-6 corners that Atlanta had, there was a scramble drill in front. Suarez couldn't get the feed in, although the rebound would come all the way back out to Dunbar. That allowed a chance for Sananu. He was over the goal, not by much. There's another good opportunity by Atlanta. Deep in Miami's end once again, Sananu. He has been all around the goal, just hasn't been able to get that ball within the frame. Dominic Chongqui almost had a beauty of an opening goal. He took on 3 defenders by himself, not only beat all of them, but almost got it inside of the post for the opening goal of the match. However, this would be the actual opening goal of the match. A corner one way, a bit of defensive play, Idol Zeltzer Zubida on a solo rush by himself, and he takes the opening goal of the match, which is where we sit through 45 minutes of play. As Zeltzer Zubida scored the opener, went straight to halftime, and we're ready for the second half to see if Atlanta can respond. 1-0 for the Herons, second half.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Yeah, boys hear sentiment, flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still staying ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best, can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next. Just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now. Oh yes, man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now.
The unique energy of a Sunday night. Ideal for calm music, whispers, stargazing, reflection, and a relaxed environment. Sunday nights were made for this.
Back for the second half here in Miami. Who will be in the pink, right to left. Left to right in the all black will be Atlanta United 2. As we have a false start. However, the speed of Inter Miami has been causing some issues with Atlanta United, including the opening goal of the match, which happened in the 45+3 of 3. We get ready to return back here in Fort Lauderdale. 1-0 to the Herons going into the break. Ryan Lee and the rest of our MLS Next Pro crew, we thank you so much for joining us here on this Friday evening in South Florida. Inter Miami, having already been eliminated, playing spoiler the rest of the way. They've wrapped up the season with, if you include today's match, 5 straight opponents who are within the playoff line, or at least a few points within it. Zeltzer Zubida scored the opener, works outside, all the way across from Vorenkamp. Miami will hang on. Waiting for help from Diego Rey. Chongqui holding strong on De Paula, who did not touch it last. They'll give that corner to Miami. Miami only mustered up a pair of corners in the first half versus Atlanta 6. Even all sorts of advantages going towards Atlanta in terms of shot attempts, 8-3, but Miami have the extra shot on target, which is the opening goal from Idol Zeltzer Zubida. Scooped across, still loose! Ransom able to smother it as you had White in the vicinity. He chucks it deep, but too far for Pita. Back in the box, Ransom, the aggressor again. With all sorts of new opportunities coming on both ends of the spectrum. For Atlanta, their opportunity to clinch the playoff spot potentially could shrink significantly by the end of the weekend with more clinching scenarios across the Eastern Conference. That is going to draw a free kick as Cisse just got dropped from behind by Rondell White. He just had the back turn and the shove down from behind. Had that been about 1.5 feet more forward, he could have had an opportunity for a penalty, but nonetheless, dangerous free kick opportunity for Dunbar and Pita. They haven't sent any of their free kick opportunities to goal yet. Unsurprising to see Daniel Chica get in the mix of it. Dunbar off the wall. That forces Marine out. Opportunities for both teams, including for Inter Miami, who recently made some changes with their first club. Turned over, Cebrian outside, Pita drops off. Riveras. Suarez couldn't get the cross for Kovac. Seltzer Zubida, first to arrive, all the way down to Ray. This is the third head coach coming to Inter Miami's first team, as they announced yesterday the introduction of Keely Gonzalez, who has been the Argentine First Division for the last handful of years, has been there since 2020, coming over from Platense. Vornkamp loads up, that got blocked. Follow-up makes his way back to De Paula. And for Inter Miami, that brings on a very interesting mix, because you're talking about 3 head coaches all this season. You have Coach Gonzalez, who was announced yesterday to take over for Guillermo Hoyos, who was only the interim for about 4.5 months. All things considered, in that time, he did really well at 8-3-3 after the starts of 3-1-3 for Javier Mascherano. Saha settles it down. That swipe gets blocked. Chica chops it down. The foul against Miami. Yellow card was coming towards the bench area as that appeared to be Gonzalo Riveras who got dropped to ground. A yellow card was shown to Will Bates, the acting head coach for today's match. Jose Silva up in the stands due to yellow card accumulation. But we were able to get a chance to speak with him regardless, talking about how one of the things that really succeeded in their match versus Orlando is they got on the front foot and didn't allow Orlando to claw back in, because in the match prior they got up to a 2-0 lead on Chicago, and Chicago were able to slowly build their way back into the match. They absolutely smothered any opportunity for the Young Lions to catch up. They won that match 5-1, did the 5 stripes. Relying on an acting manager for the next 40 minutes of play, plus this dribbles towards Dearman. Smashed out of play. Atlanta side that didn't necessarily have the best of August. We had those back-to-back losses to Chattanooga and Red Bull New York before the follow-up back-to-back wins against Chicago and Orlando. But if there's a comeback, maybe an opportunity. Kovac, he shoved his man down. That's a foul. Atlanta would hope to get over 500 in the month of August to keep their playoff hopes alive. Kovac trying a little bit of that swim move, but knocked his defender down in the process. Less than stellar start to August after a phenomenal month of July. Atlanta 3-1-1 in their 5 matches in July, only to follow up with splitting the first 4 matches. As we mentioned before, in terms of how tight this playoff race is, Crown Legacy were the first team in the East to clinch, but officially released were the scenarios for the next 5 teams after. 2nd place Chattanooga, 3rd Connecticut, 4th New England, 5th Columbus, and 6th Red Bull New York. All of them have potential scenarios in place to clinch. You can see the presence of Shea Fakiesi occupying the near sideline. As Coach Bates is ready to make his first change in the opening 10 minutes of the second half. Miami were offside. This likely allows the window for exactly that. So officially you have 1 change on both ends. Shea Fakiesi, he'll take the place of Gonzalo Riveras. Fakiesi just recently turned 16, a 2010, one of the 2010 products of Atlanta United's academy. The Canadian American turned 16 earlier this month. Kovac forced to retreat back. Bouncing ball, no one able to cradle it in. Launched across, Zeltzer Zubina hit a bump that was Daniel Chica. This broadcast is presented by Royal Caribbean, the official vacation partner of Inter Miami CF2. Almost turned over by Fakiesi. Fakiesi change that has put both coaches in the position to change things up early on. It's a foot race. Flag stays down. Vorenkamp flashed across. No one on the receiving end. Vorenkamp, apparently flag went offside. You had bodies coming in the middle in the form of Mateo Saha, but nothing was able to get poked past Jonathan Ransom. Only 2 wins this season have come for Inter Miami. At least regulation wins. They do have a 3rd win, but in penalties. But of the 2 wins within the 90, they were both on this pitch within the last month. July 25th, 2-1 against Toronto. And then only 9 days ago against New England, Kovac offside. And in terms of just overall happenings in the league, you also have a handful of scenarios in the West as well. One that could see Vancouver officially eliminated, one that could see a 4th slot in the West clinched with Ventura County. Vancouver successfully held off elimination, beating LAFC in the midweek. Push back, Dearman, heavy contact, Suarez the guilty party, and they're gonna have to call out the training crew. But Dearman had all the bodies in front of him. Doesn't look like he actually saw Suarez coming in from behind. But we are at the hour mark. Could that potentially open the door for another sub? It's not something you traditionally see where a sub comes in and then he gets subbed sequentially later on. Didn't see a card out of the pocket or Savando Berna after that sequence. You have Fritz Barbaroux, Andrew Charon, and Yvonne Sid Cruz as our crew. As things continue to progress on the field, it is a 1-0 game at the hour mark at the end of the day. This is the stoppage time goal in the first half. 45 plus 3 of 3. You had the sequence all the way back in the defensive zone. That should loosen up Ido Zalta-Zubida. He was taking on a defender one-on-one all the way down about 3/4 the length of the pitch. And you just cut back inside, you wait for numbers, you force a little bit of that franticness inside of the penalty area, which it actually did, to the benefit of Miami. All the bodies kind of trying to mark their man and crisscrossing, maybe a little lack of communication there as well, forcing all that confusion on Atlanta's D. And Atlanta D that are pretty much middle of the pack in comparison to the rest of MLS Next Pro. The real big jump for Atlanta. More often times when you see new head coaches come into play, more often than not, they try to shut things down and just suffocate opposing offenses. Well, with Jose Silva, took a bit of a different approach. Let's get as many opportunities on goal as possible, but Miami could slim that lead just a touch. It's Ray, low driver off of Cisse. I'm not sure if that qualifies, but before the free kick, the shots were 9-5 favoring Atlanta, but the on target is 2-1 for Miami. Nice tackle by Vorenkamp to stop Dunbar in his tracks. Captain Sumala, the 19-year-old, wanted the deep ball. Instead, Atlanta retreat with Sananu. Atlanta still looking for not only their first ever playoff appearance as a second team, but to avenge their 1 point exclusion last year. Pita slithering through, lets it go and just misses. What an opportunity for Santiago Pita. He was out of the lineup in the early portion of the season. He was battling injuries in the preseason and in the early portion of the regular season. Missed the first handful of matches, but has come back, has played relatively efficiently. For Pita, only 1 goal and 2 assists across 13 matches. All 11 for Miami have returned as no more medical care is required. Sumala slaps it outside the box. Back to Miami it goes. Sananu heaves it, the bouncer back for Daniel Chica. Look at a fancy footwork, goes nowhere. Diego Rey starts the attack from center. Vorenkamp got the assist on the Zeltzer Zubito goal. Back to Matias Marine. Zeltzer Zubito. Vorenkamp. Back to Vorenkamp. Saha slid it through. Ransom couldn't corral. Top of the box. Bicycle miss. Mopped out temporarily for Atlanta. They're not in the clear yet. Morrison. To center Sumala. Again playing keep away with Atlanta United. And that might be the method for the Herons the rest of the way through. This portion of the match is brought to you by Ergo Next Insurance. Simple, because it matters. Still a hot one in Fort Lauderdale. High of 93, but it feels like 97. And we won't quite have a cooling break yet, but we will have the introduction of 2 new faces into the match. We have Judason Ondeclot. Ondeclot will replace the forward in Mateo Saha. We also have Patrick Weah, who will take the place of Ignacio Suarez. Weah scored a couple of times against Chicago last time out for Atlanta. And you even have DePaula making his exit as Jenna comes in. Ondeclot took contact. That will draw a free kick to Miami. The Pendulum slowly shifting to the pink and black. Under a half an hour to go in the second half. Adeklat, you could just tell he had all eyes on the ball and just took a thumping from behind by Mosi Say. 67th minute change for both clubs. Converse off the wall, gets it back. Deep try again, that time Ransom can cradle it in. Smacked in the area, just missed. Back to Matthias Marine. It really has been a little bit more of Inter Miami's second half so far. After Atlanta really controlled things 8-3 in the shots attempted department. Coming out of the half, it's been 5 for Miami, only 2 for Atlanta so far. Which could be why they wanted some attacking reinforcements in the form of Patrick Weah. Had some exceptional seasons in 2024 and 2025, each of them with 8 goals plus, including a career high 9 last season. But Coach Silva told us that with Weah, it just hasn't been the best season because he had to deal with injuries in the preseason. And it took until just now, the final month of the season, to finally feel that old form that they're so used to. Adeklat coughed it up. They would go back to Ransom. Kovac rolls it. Dunbar might be free. Dunbar just hit the outside net. So many opportunities for both teams have been off by a matter of inches. You saw that opportunity in the opening half from Diego Rey. We saw that from Cameron Dunbar just now. Sananu plans the roof a couple times. And here come Miami the other way. Celso Zubina put Chica on skates but lifts it too high. Idol Celso Zubina, he was looking for that brace. Just couldn't convert, however. You have to wonder also what type of learning moments you could see from these second teams because of what we showed you at halftime in terms of the sprint season and the calendar flipping from us next pro to line up with Major League Soccer. How could playing in that type of a scenario and maybe even having that calendar alignment with the World Soccer calendar, how could that benefit some of these players? And finally, Daniel Chica, after all of the contact he's had, he gets a yellow. First one Atlanta's way. And there wasn't a whole lot of argument on that one. Just absolutely ate it to the back of Jonathan Adeklat, and this will put things to a halt. Hydration break in South Florida, under 20 minutes to go. The high today was 87. Sorry, the feels like was 97. The high today was 93. Currently, it's 87. Not a whole lot of break in terms of winds, not a lot of humidity today either. Just pure scalding heat. And when you look ahead at these two, there's opportunities for both teams. But for Atlanta, their window is slowly shrinking. Only 3 more matches in September. For Miami, they have 4. Not only opportunities for these two teams specifically, but 5 teams in the Eastern Conference could clinch by the end of the week. Red Bull New York have a clinching scenario. Chattanooga do as well against the already eliminated Carolina Core. CTU could be in the mix, but that's going to be hard because Red Bull and CTU play against each other. They're both looking for clinching scenarios. Columbus Crew could keep Chicago at bay, which could actually benefit Atlanta. And Cincy, if they could pull off an upset similar to the lead that Miami have right now, that could put Philadelphia in a really sticky situation. Wouldn't be eliminated yet, but about as close to it. And those are a couple results just to look out for come the Sunday slate. Only 2 matches on Saturday. This is the opening match of a 4-game slate this Friday. At least when you look around the league, Toronto and NYC, those are some big points with NYC currently occupying the 8. Along the flank, Dunbar holds back, comes across. Vorenkamp and White are there. Chung Kui keeps it deep. Assistance came from Cyprian. 2 games in the East, 2 games in the West today. 4 teams in the East play tomorrow. Chattanooga could claim against the already eliminated Carolina Core. CTU and Red Bull, only one can clinch because both scenarios for both crew more or less involve a win. There's no scenario where both teams can clinch. It'd be one or the other. Red Bull would have to win in regulation. For CTU, they can just get any points, and then their train of other scenarios that have to occur at the same time. And then Sunday brings on a lot of interesting scenarios. Columbus can clinch. Chicago trying to stay alive. They're in the 9. Adeklat was offside. New England has a chance to hold Huntsville off. Orlando City would have to basically try to find a way to beat Crown Legacy to even stay within the race. Bit of a clap for them the last handful of weeks. They're 4 points back. Ransom out of his area. Didn't want any sort of contact to come through. The throw-in for Miami is upcoming. But in the last quarter hour, whatever changes were made by Rodrigo Vargas has clearly worked out in his favor because they have really held Atlanta at bay. Sinanu had to be careful. You don't want to draw a yellow card there. He's not on one, but you don't want to take the chance. Miami have done a really great job holding off Arif Kovac, but Dunbar's been able to find opportunities on the service end. Miami are more or less saying beat us with anyone else. That last service had 3 men all over Kovac. Dunbar. Tight pressure, gets free. Dunbar inside, deflected, they score! Patrick Weah, the equalizer. This game's tied 1-1. A dozen minutes remain. Cameron Dunbar, he remains the golden playmaker, and that is what you're looking for if you are Atlanta from Patrick Weah. He scored a goal last time out against Orlando. He scores one here today, and probably none bigger to keep their playoff hopes in check. And this allows for 2 more changes to come up for the Five Stripes. Ignacio Suarez, he's done for the night. That spot will be taken by Joshua Kwan. David Elevar is in also with a dozen minutes to go. So a quick little 1-minute sequence. Patrick Weah gets the game timing goal. Elev Barre and Kwan come in for Suarez, Corey, and Chongqui. David Elev Barre just recently turned 16 years old, the Nigerian American. Joshua Kwan's been in his handful of games as well. Whistle goes back to a Miami free kick. Top of the box, Dunbar pokes it away. Maybe a chance here for Atlanta. 4-on-3 if they hurry. Kwan. Help outside. Kovac got a touch, couldn't get it through. Kwan scrapping in there before White gets rid of it. And Cisse couldn't escape from Adeklat. Elev Barre in a tangle up. And Adeklat on lockdown, but they do get it back. Do Miami on the throw. Sinanu got a yellow card within that mix also. Chucked in, offside. Ten minutes remain in regulation between Atlanta and Miami. Marine forced to come out as Weah was chugging along. Officially, it is Weah from Dunbar and Cyprian. For Dunbar, that increases his league lead 11 assists. As this portion of the match is brought to you by Lowe's, the official home improvement partner of Inter Miami CF2. Dearman ahead for Ray. Ray from deep. Ransom is there. Whole bunch of new for both organizations. Inter Miami, the announcement of Keely Gonzalez as the new head coach of the first team, and with how much they want to serve in. This one served in, glance just wide off Kovac. Cameron Dunbar almost had a second assist and a whole lot of his goals. How many of his 11 assists have come off the foot of Arif Kovac? Although it probably wouldn't do them, probably would have ideally gotten a game winner there. They still have 7.5 minutes to respond. But when every one of these second teams are more or less at the behest of the first team, where they all talk about what is our purpose and how can we do that to help out the first team, you have to wonder how difficult that vision is for a team like Inter Miami because of the just overall changeover they've had in this season alone. After the first team won MLS Cup back in December, there's just been this revolving door of head coaches even since they opened up down at New Stadium. Already on their third head coach this season are the Herons. Quan in the middle, too heavy of a touch for Weah. That allows Miami to dispose. We had Javier Mascherano for about the first month of the season, left in mid-April due to personal reasons. Really solid record, unbeaten in 6 of 7, but those other 6 matches split 3 wins, 3 draws. Then you have the interim, Guillermo Hoyos, who was really solid, all things considered. Despite a relatively underwhelming Leagues Cup, still 8-3-3 in league play for the 4.5 months he was at the helm. And you have to wonder what's going to change from Keely Gonzalez, who comes in from the Argentine top division for about a half dozen years. And you always talk about, in the general sense of things, what are the differences between international soccer versus the way it's played here in the U.S. and how can that translate? Adeklat up top, Dearman sliding through, too much juice. Zeltzer Zubida from Vorenkamp in the 45+3. We are from Dunbar and Cibrian in the 78th. We sit at 1-1 in the final minutes of regulation in Miami. Ryan Lee, the rest of our MLS Next Pro crew, we thank you for joining us on this toasty 87-degree day in South Florida. Atlanta in the 7 entering tonight. Look to stay above the playoff line and make the playoffs for the first time in their history as a second team. Good strip by Quan. Centers for Weah. Sliding it through. Dunbar. He's alone. Kovac off the bar. Rebound still there. No one in black can claim it. That allows Miami to clean it up. Kovac hit only crossbar. And somehow we're still tied at 1. Shots have pretty much been dead even, but Miami have had a much better shooting day. 5 on target from 13. Atlanta 2 on goal from 15. Maybe a response from Weah. Morrison had to look out because he's already on a yellow. No yellow card given to Morrison, but they will get the free kick. This was that last chance in Kovac. You had Marine beat. You just couldn't get it under the bar enough. Usually when it bangs under the bar and directly off the goal line, you're talking about millimeters worth of angle, especially at a speed like that. More bodies drop. Vorenkamp within that mix. It is an 87-degree day. Coach Vargas has only used 3 of his 5 subs, so he does have 2 more changes available if he uses them. You have 2 players down on the pitch. It could even be just the possibility of cramping on a day like today, or even tired legs, the fatigue, the aggressive running that Miami has dealt with so far. They haven't really been as in command of many of their games at all this season, but this one of the very few exceptions. This and the last time they were here against New England in that 4-2 win. They were dictating tempo. They were playing with possession and control, trying to beat Atlanta for the first time in 3 matches. Atlanta have won the last 3. Miami trying to get their first win against the Five Stripes since August of last year. Atlanta have won the last 3 straight since. But due to the new FIFA rules and regulations, Vorenkamp must sit out for at least a minute because he was tended to by training staff. 2-man wall for Shea Fakiesi. 2 minutes left of regulation time. This will only add to stoppage. There's 9 on the field for Miami at the moment. Fakiesi goes short. Dunbar up top. Curls it. Header. Just missed. Patrick Weah looking for that brace off the bench. And Atlanta will have to work quick because you had that quick sequence of players going down to ground and the respective training crews come out. It was Converse and Vorenkamp. However, Converse will take this spot on the bench. Alejandro Flores will come out in the final minute of regulation. You can only wonder how much more could be added just sheerly because of those recent stoppages. Temporarily, Miami will be a man down, but don't expect that to keep up for much longer. Flores. Interesting. You have 2 different calls from the officials. One called corner, one called foul. Center officials' verdict will stand. You overrule the assistant ref. We have 8 more minutes to go. Is there a potential game winner in stoppage time? First half stoppage ended with a go-ahead goal by Inter Miami. Dearman. Ray harassed. Last off Dunbar for the throw. Inter Miami could play spoiler. Atlanta trying to get some breathing room. They're in the 7. If they do go above the top 8, it'd be the first time in their franchise history in Next Pro or the USL Championship. They missed by 1 point last season. The number 8 slot was taken by Carolina Core. Lost their final match of the season last year in Chattanooga on PKs. Had they gotten that extra point, they could have made it, but they're trying to do so in this 2026 season. Quan outside Dunbar. Got his 11th assist on the first Weah goal. Gets around his defender. Raised across. No one in black to slam it in. Service. Weah. Turnaround try. Bounces wide. That was a bit of a weird miscommunication. You had that bobbling ball, and you have good options either way with Weah or Kovac. And Coach Silva has largely stood pat with this 5 midfielder look to start off matches, but you could clearly see with Weah, they're trying to go with the more traditional 4-4-2 look. Weah hustling in. We got contact on Samala. Inter Miami will get the foul. They really want to be precise with that defensive end free kick. All that for the end result to be Jonathan Ransom. Four deep of 8 here in South Florida. Kwan got a piece. Kovac couldn't get behind Morrison. Vorenkamp down the length. Back to Atlanta on the toss. Inter Miami will be here hosting NYCFC next up. Another midweek match. That'll be played on Tuesday. Atlanta will have a full week before they come back to the Atlanta United training ground and host CT United for what will be their home finale. Atlanta spend the final 2 matches, of the season, final week. 2 very different road environments between Chattanooga and Orlando. Yellow card was given out for starting the free kick too quick, I assume. Not quite sure what that was about. That's 3 of the 4D on yellows. Cisse joins the mix. Fakiesi couldn't locate Weah. Follow up. Back and forth it comes. Patrick Weah. A little bit of miscommunication with Eli Barre. Maybe a rush here, but Zeltzer Zubida would have been offside. Another yellow card gets shown there. Not sure to whom or for what. Must have been something that we didn't see, because it was a delayed yellow card to Patrick Weah. So there's a foul at the center line before the feet came across for Zeltzer Zubida. Instead of playing advantage, they decided to put this part of the match to a screeching halt. Airmailed straight to Ransom. They've got about 45 seconds to go. They want to get all the herons out of their end as quickly as possible before Ransom can distribute. Well short of Dunbar. out of Weah's range. Back in the center circle. Miami offside anyways. Chips it. Weah might be alone. Dunbar. Tripped up. No penalty. We're through the 8. Dunbar is hobbled. We have to look at that foul again, but that was not called for a penalty. Comes back, Kwan. Fans chanting because Sinanu got contact away from the ball, and that's going to do it for regulation. A very stagnated stoppage time, especially with all the contact going on both ways. But at the end of the day, we're tied at 1 through the full 90. 1 point on the board apiece, but one more point to be decided. Penalties in MLS Next Pro from Miami on the other end.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Back in Miami, 1-1 after 90 plus. Started things off in first half stoppage time. Ido Zeltzer Zubito with a cross on the counter attack. The reason it looked like a cross, but actually turned out to be in the back of the net with all the bodies in front. Cameron Dunbar actually did get a cross in deliberately towards Patrick Weah. He's got goals in back-to-back matches. And that is where we have things standing through 90 plus. So at least for the intents and purposes of Atlanta United 2, a point does help, at least to some degree. Because you're going to need any sort of opportunity to increase the buffer between yourselves and NYCFC. And with New York losing to Toronto, not only does that keep Toronto alive, but this could allow an opportunity for Atlanta United to have an even larger buffer. Only 1 point separates Atlanta and NYC. But with NYC losing, this opens the door for Atlanta, if they can get things done in this penalty period. could get a 3-point buffer. The captain, Daniel Sumala, up first. Sumala strikes it, no doubt about it. No nonsense about it, easy strike. Shooter's left side. Didn't try to mess around too much with that one. First striker up for Atlanta. Who else? The Golden Boot leader. 16 goals for Arif Kovac. Stopped by Marine. That was read like a book. Shooter's right bottom corner. And more often than not, when you slide those penalties in low, you open that window for those saves to come through. Speaking of coming through, Ido Zeltzer-Zubida with the lone goal for Miami in first half stoppage time. He missed it! And the door's back open for Atlanta. Well high to the left, just overcooked by Zeltzer-Zubida. And we go from opposite ends of the spectrum for Miami. Your top attacking forward for one of your center backs. Mo Cisse, no goals yet this year. Does have a pair of assists, however. Starts in 20 of 22 this year. Cisse scores. Levels the PKs at 1-1 through 2 frames. The slow approach, one that's drawn quite a bit of controversy over the last handful of years, but every player has their thing. And the next one to the dot is Diego Rey. Both of his 2 goals came the last time he was here against New England. Rey saved by Ransom. We made this point earlier on the Arif Kovac penalty, and Rey did something very similar. Low penalty, shooter's right, keeper able to get across. And you go from Rey to the current MLS Next Pro assist king. 11 on the season, including the lone Atlanta goal to Patrick Weah. Dunbar has been clinical on services, on corners. Could he do the same on the penalty spot? He does. Dunbar puts Atlanta up 2-1 through 3. For Dunbar, trying to do the switch up, getting the shot over to his left. This is Sloan Morrison. No goal contributions yet at all this season. in his first season in MLS Next Pro. If he misses or Ransom saves, Atlanta can win with the next kick. However, he converts. Keeping the window open for Inter Miami. An Inter Miami squad that has only won on the PKs one time this season. However, the same cannot be said for Atlanta. They've had 4 cracks at it all season, but have lost in all of them. The substitute, Josh Kwan, to the dot. D.D. Cyprian scores. D.D. Cyprian puts all the pressure back on Miami. Former MLS Next All-Star, second year with the team. He knows what he's doing. But can the same be said? But the same can be said about the 20-year-old Spaniard Alejandro Flores. 4th season with the Herons. Must make to keep Miami alive. Alive and well for now. Ransom actually had the right idea going to the shooter's right, just couldn't get up high enough. And this could seal the deal for the Five Stripes to build that 3-point cushion on 8th place NYC. Patrick Weah tied it. Can he win it? Stop by Marine. We play on. Another low penalty that does not stray too far from the center. It's not so far wide out that there's any sort of long reach. That gave Marine more than enough time to get over. And now we go to the 1-and-1s. Nassim Jenna to start things off in round 6. This is Jenna's 10th appearance this season. His 8th one off the bench. Jenna gets it. Not a whole lot of nonsense there, just sliding across to the left. Not many of these penalties have been taken to shooters left. But that time Jenner goes in that direction, and we go for another experienced center back. Matt Sonanu to keep the PKs rolling. Sonanu, no mess, right down the gut. Sometimes it's simple to do the simple things simply. Nice little tap in right up the middle, not trying to go overly precise or power. You know the keeper's likely going to dive. This is Judison Adeclat. Came on at the 67th. For round 7. Slapped out by Ransom. What a save by Jonathan Ransom. The Canadians keep calling him for a reason. Got the left palm outstretched, full extension. to keep it out of the net. And it is another back-to-back. Daniel Chica, formerly of George Mason. For match point in Miami. Chica scores! Atlanta complete the comeback. Down 1-0, and they claim the 2 points in the shootout. That's where we'll wrap things up here in Miami. 1-1 after regulation, but Atlanta, after 5 total misses, do come out with the PK extra point. But before we wrap things up, we need to go through our man of the match presented by Adidas. And he's the reason we got to PKs in the first place. 78th minute goal from Patrick Weah off of the bench. Only 11 minutes after coming on did Weah score the equalizer, and it couldn't have come at a better time. And with that, Atlanta firmly planted in the 7 slots and have established a 3-point cushion on the Eastern Conference playoff line. They shoot all the way up to 4th to the 5 stripes. Don't forget to watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. It was tied at 1 through regulation, but Atlanta get the win in PKs. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Ryan Lee. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.